Okay, so a little bit of update for those who are interested in the Natasha story. I've seen some of you are also clamoring for more of Natasha's story and an update on that. So just a little bit of an update so that we understand where we are on this particular matter. Daily Posts Nigeria is saying Natasha's Akpoti Uduaghan, we stand by our petition, we stand by our recall process, apparently. That is what Daily Post is posting as a few hours ago. They stand by the recall process, that is Kogi Central's constituency. We know there was also a story that came out a few hours earlier that, you know, the videos that were circulating that it was the process of recalling Natasha happened to be people who were supposed to be empowered. And so when they invited them to that location, they found out that it was a voting process to recall her. So it happens that those who were there actually stated it was false, that everybody who came there knew what they were coming for. So there's this potpourri of discourse that has been going on back and forth. So the Daily Post is saying, Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan, we stand by a recall process, Kogi Central constituents. Premium Time says, court lifts injunction on Senate's disciplinary process against Natasha Akpoti. Punch is saying constituents insist on Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan's recall. The headlines is also saying Natasha fights back as constituents intensify recall move. Okay, the Cable just dropped a few lines and says Akpabio said my waist would make good movements. Natasha Akpoti alleges. Sahara Reporter says court bars INEC from accepting and processing fictitious petition to recall Natasha Akpoti. Arise News says courts vacate order nullifying Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan. So there's this back and forth about this particular story, whether it is true or false. Like I said, she's not just fighting any kind of person, she's fighting the establishment. And if the presidency have any sort of sympathy for her by now, the Senate president would have been thinking of resigning. I mean, that's just the plain truth. Have you heard the presidency say anything about this particular matter? If the president or presidency have any form of sympathy for her, for all the things that she has been doing and been going on and on and on, going to different media organizations, I'm not sure we're going to be talking about Akpabio being the Senate president right now. So it means that the president and the Senate president are in bed, considering the fact that the Senate president has just done their bidding of ratifying what has happened in Rivers State. This thing is about what you give me and what I will give you. So Akpabio may have gone to tell presidency, I hope you are going to keep protecting me and keep on supporting me as I stay on this course, no matter where Natasha goes, as long as I'll ratify this, as long as you support me. I mean, this is politics, and trust me, if anybody does not know this, you'll probably be rolling on the mud of emotions. That's for me what I feel that Natasha is doing. So let's talk about the so many media houses that Natasha has visited in the past few weeks that she did this, that she was suspended. So she has gone to the all-important and all-wonderful Brekete Radio, Human Rights Radio, 101.1 Abuja. In fact, that was the first place that she went to. She didn't want to even go to the media, but I think that my friend Isa, ordinary president Ahmed Isa, gave her the opportunity and the platform. And shout out to Isa though. Ahmed Isa is my very good friend. We worked together at Kiss FM. He moved to Love FM and then to Rhythm FM before the Human Rights gig came. So I salute what he is doing. Fantastic job. So Natasha has gone to that medium. Of course, they have a huge platform online, and she's also been there as well, relating everything that she's got to read. She's gone to Arise News, where she narrated that wonderful story about what happened in her country home, or in his country home, that's Senate President's country home. So in my head, I'm thinking to myself, your husband was behind you, and Senate President was holding your hand and was swinging it in your husband's presence. That story didn't add up, for crying out loud. If your husband is where you are, I mean, I'm hoping that your husband, I'm praying that he wasn't there, but for a man to be bold enough to hold your hand in the presence of your husband, first of all, that man doesn't respect you, doesn't even respect your husband, doesn't even think doesn't take you seriously. I mean, for you to have even come up to tell that story that she was holding your hand, took you to one room, and then you guys were talking, and then said something to you, I don't know, those stories are just so. She's gone to Arise News, she's gone to the BBC, where she stated clearly that the Senate is run by like a cult. So in my head, I'm thinking, so you are telling the world that Nigerian Senate is run like a cult, and then you expect to come back to the Senate. There's a number of things that, of course, that she has said about the Senate President, but to talk about a chamber that you have walked in, you have been in, you have fed from, and you have served in, to say that it is run like a cult. Are you one of them? Because, I mean, if it was not the suspension, you wouldn't have said that the Senate was run like a cult. I don't know. And then she's gone to Sky News. The Sky News, the clip that I saw, she said that she was suspended. She was running with that narrative that she was suspended because she brought up an allegation against the Senate President of sexual harassment. But the presenter actually asked her, but the Senate has responded that it's not the harassment, that's why they've suspended. They suspended it because of gross misconduct. The Senate standing rule were all in so many ways, you didn't obey the Senate rule. You flouted the Senate rule a number of times, which you were called upon, your attention was called upon, and you still continued in that direction. And that's the reason why they suspended you, basically. So it's not because of that. And a number of other media houses. I mean, I've seen CBS. Story. I've seen the AFP. I've also seen the Guardian. There are a number of stunning media houses that this lady has gone, and how viral this story has actually gone. Now, I'm not even trying to talk about the viralness of this whole story. I'm trying to talk about the substance of this whole story. Look, I don't know who's advising Natasha, but I believe that at some point, you just have to stop and evaluate all the things that has happened, right? You just have to stop, think through what has happened, and then change your strategy. Because again, at the end of the day, you're looking for a situation where these things can be resolved and everybody goes home smiling. Because again, you cannot be going up and down doing those things without thinking of a possible result. Because I'm the kind of person who is pragmatic. If I'm taking an action, I'm thinking of the consequences of the action, and I'm also thinking of the result that may come out of it. Because again, why would I want to embark on an action I don't know where it's going to stop, where it's going to end, how it's going to end? Why would I want to do that? So I'm thinking that whoever is advising her, because at this point, I think her emotion is on overdrive. She hasn't sat down to think through. So, but somebody else has to do that, whether her aides or her best friend, or somebody has to sit her down and speak to her, all right, and say, look, since you are moving through this direction, things hasn't really worked. Can we try another strategy? Because going to the international community to speak of these things, for me, it smacks of somebody who is weak, true. I mean, it speaks of somebody who is weak. The laws of this country are like anything that happens in this country. We are an independent nation with laws, rules, and regulations guiding us. Even if you go to Donald Trump, even if you sit one-on-one with Donald Trump and you speak to him about this sexual harassment thing, the worst he can do is to, maybe he calls the president, nothing happens, calls the vice, nothing happens. He probably does what do you call it? He probably blacklists the country, or maybe sanctions. Like nothing will happen. Frankly speaking, nothing will happen. The Chibok girls that happened some few years back, no country came here to look for Chibok girls for us. We didn't employ an international organization to go and chase after Chibok, to go and chase after Boko Haram to release Chibok girls for us. So yours is a sexual harassment, quite unfortunate, but you just have to find a way to think straight, to think through some of the things you've done and how you can get to a point where either the Senate rescinds that suspension call, or you find a way of reaching an amicable solution where you'll be satisfied at the actions that have been taken. But going to the international community to speak of the Senate in that manner, saying that it's run like a cult, and you're not talking to somebody who is your mate. Like, when I mean mate, I'm talking about the number 3 man of a country with this narrative, and all of it all the time. I haven't seen any concrete thing, anything you have brought out to say, okay, you want to use the public court to try to chase your case. I wish you actually, I wish you are able to find a way to channel that public court in a way that will put pressure on the Senate president to resign. But you are not doing it right. You're moving a wall. You're moving a wall. You're not using the Nigerian court. You're not using third parties to reach out. You're not doing any of these. And then what's on your mind is going to the international community and international media to say all sorts of things just because you have brought an allegations that is still not verified. So you ask yourself, why is she not going to court? To what end is she doing this for? I might tune into CNN tomorrow or tune into Al Jazeera tomorrow. I might see her still talking about sexual harassment for something you have not gone to court for something you have not verified, for something you have not really tested it in court. Because again, like it or leave it, you just have to test these things in our Nigerian courts in order to get this on the way. No amount of international pressure can make somebody in Nigeria. Leaders don't resign. We all know these things. Leaders don't resign no matter what. When was the last time we heard about sexual harassment, or they touched me, they didn't touch me, and then it was because of that somebody resigned? It's never done. If the land is not abroad where by even looking at a woman in a seductive manner you are in trouble. This is Nigeria. It's an African culture. It's so unfortunate that this is where we are, but again, it is what it is. It's unfortunate this is happening, but can this lady slow down? It's also for our own political career. It's also for our own future. So I don't know. Maybe I'm becoming too much of. I care too much about her. Maybe I care about what she's gone through. But again, if you differ with me, fine. I mean, I would love to hear from you. You can send me comments. You can send me comments. Let's talk about it. I love to debate. Like I said, I always love to debate these things. So maybe I might be looking on one direction and I'm not seeing what she's doing as the best way to go about her thing. But again, I don't see anybody abroad calling to make a Senate president to resign from position just because you put up an allegation that is not even verified, that is not even tested. Because it's not about you crying that you have been harassed, but it's also about testing it. Is it really true? All these things you have said that he said, I mean, is your word against his? What if he says he didn't say it? The story has just been from your end. He hasn't even said a word about it. He hasn't even done anything about it. He has just been quiet about this whole thing. What if he says it's false, that you are just out to tarnish his image and his name, and that you are sponsored? I mean, these things are in the realm of politics, and it's nearly impossible, to get respite from the way and manner you have run around the media, castigating the Nigerian Senate and the number 3 man, just because, well, you have an unverified claim of sexual harassment. Anyways, maybe I'm also emotionally on overdrive. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.